welcome back to another episode of the Backlog Breakdown. I'm one of your hosts, Nate, and this is a video game podcast where we seek to encourage and equip the church to engage the medium wisely and well. With me today is my friend and brother in Christ, Joshua. Hi, Josh.
Hey, Nate, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I mixed it up. Like I
That's
took
okay.
the normal, and I went
it's our prerogative.
remix, like remix.
Take the back and put it in the front. Hey, it's remixed.
Just flip it around, remix. That was a bad bit. We should feel
I
bad.
like it. Yeah.
No, we should feel bad. That was actively pretty trash. Pretty trash. But yeah,
well,
buddy.
it's only up from here.
Is it? Is it? Listen, I feel like, and maybe I'm just like a bit of a negative Nancy, right? I had a friend who actually called me that. Her nickname for me was just Nancy because I was a negative Nancy.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. Not because I was a Nancy boy. You think you're so funny. Shut up. Wow.
But I'm here to talk. That's what a
Not
podcast is for.
Oh, boy. Well, technically, you are correct. You are correct. I don't know, though, man. I do feel like we need to, before we sort of move on with some of the forms, we do need to address. There's
address.
I just address, ADDRESS. Yes,
right.
That kind of like if it's used as a noun, that's where you live. If it's used as a verb, it means to speak to. And so I'm addressing an issue.
Gotcha.
I want you to know that millions of people every year suffer from identity theft, and this is a serious thing, Josh. Stop it right now. Like, and I'm just saying, like, the fact that you were a party to somebody trying to steal my identity, I'm disappointed.
I did it for the lulz.
You did it for the lulz. Bears
that
Beach
primarily came from me.
Yeah. You were the one that was doing all the laughing. Everybody else was like, I think, like rightfully so. Everybody else was a little afraid. They were like, what happens when Nate actually sees this or hears this? I'm here to tell you nothing good. Fake Nate, you will be dealt with swiftly. Or maybe not so swiftly. You'll never know. Like just one day you'll be, sort of minding your own business. And maybe it'll be tomorrow. Maybe it'll be 5 minutes from now. Maybe it'll be 10 years. But I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. You're going to be dealt with.
Okay.
There's going to be some bearing of my fists, some beating down of fools. And
oh, wow.
And afterwards, I'm going to watch some Battlestar Galactica. You like that? Nice. Bears beats in Battlestar Galactica.
I like that. I do like that. Yeah, that was. I didn't know what you were doing there, but that was really good.
Yeah,
I like that.
No, that was terrible. That was garbage. There's like, I actually at one point in time I thought about just like kind of going into it super cold and actually getting the transcript of that episode where Jim impersonates Dwight and doing like the monologue that Rainn Wilson did about identity theft, but I was like, no, I'm not that committed to the bit.
But I mean, yeah, no, I liked it. It was good. It is a real issue that some people face.
Yeah, not me, because my imposter will be dealt with. Imminently or not so. Anyways, but interesting last episode. Bit of a mixed crowd. I was really bummed to sort of sit down on it, like, or to have to sit that one out. But like, it's like I told you, I was like, and what's really funny is that I slept very poorly that night. I was like exhausted, and I think there's part of me that knew that I should have been on that episode defending myself. There was a part of me that was like, "What have you done? You're letting the clowns sort of run the circus, Nate."
Mm.
And
Everything I've built will be torn down in one single episode.
these idiots will burn my personal Rome um, to the ground. But unfortunately, well, fortunately, that was not the case. But um, I was bummed to sort of miss out on Acostia's first episode.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a bummer, especially since like yeah, I was really impressed by what he brought to the table. The rest of
Mhm.
the assembly, not so much. Whatever. The Canadian, the Australian, the imposter, like they can go kick rocks. Like worthless, trash, no stars. No, that's not true. It was, but it was fun to sort of hear a new voice, sort of jump on the cast, and I was kind of bummed that I missed out on that one. But and obviously I was bummed to not see to not be able to hang out with our buddy for the Wonder from Down Under and stuff,
Mhm.
and the reasonable Canadian. Again, like Imposter Nate, you're just gonna get nothing but shade this entire episode. Like even though I love you, um, I would say that I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, but I am mad and I am disappointed. And all I'm gonna say is if there's boxes from PA uh, that aren't there's not a return address, just like postmarked
Mm,
from Pennsylvania. I would not open those if I were you, or
mm.
do actually. I'd love if you open those boxes. Is it smallpox or is it baby powder? Is it poop or an animal corpse?
Hmm.
Or is it something nice to make you feel really bad for slighting me the way that you did? I don't know. I don't know. You don't know. Maybe it's going to be really nice. Maybe it's going to be awful. Yeah. I don't know.
You've really thought this through. Man, oh man.
Oh, I've spent nothing. I have given very little thought to anything else since I heard the episode. It's like how can I make Nate pay?
How
Um,
can I eat this
how can I
snake?
how can I snake Nate? Um, yeah, that's not because not because he's cool like Snake, but because he's a snake. He tried to steal my identity. No, okay, that bit's gone on entirely too long. Yeah,
Mm.
it was like it was mildly funny, but I did have to give him some notes because like he actually sort of enjoyed your awful sense of humor,
Mhm.
and I tell him I said, dude, like I said that was the dead giveaway. I said I said I said I said that's I said that you just absolutely dropped it right there. I
Mm.
said anybody who might have even been slightly like one, if they were even moderately fooled by that, their I question their intelligence and
Mm.
their general aptitude. I said because one, I sound like a man and you sound like a whimpering little child. But the other
Ooh,
side of that,
yikes.
the other side of that is that I don't laugh at Josh's bad jokes. I just
Mm.
kind of throw up inside my mouth when he says them, um, and I just make faces at him. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
and I tell
That's
him
true.
he. I just look at him like "You're just the worst. Anyway, anyways, no. That was it was. I was a little disturbed. Yeah, that
Mhm.
someone tried to, but no, it was funny. It was funny, and I was just like, I knew something like that was going to happen too. Like I knew it's like, oh, Nate's not here, and so now he's going to be like, I'm the real Nate. I'm the only Nate, the prime Nate, and I'm like, oh sir, oh sir, we. But no, yeah, no, there was. I did not listen to the back half of the episode because I have not
'Kay.
played Metal Gear Solid 3 yet. I kind of want to, and I don't want that spoiled
Okay.
for me.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
but everything I did listen to prior to that was fun. Um, you know, some
Yeah.
good rapport. Um, you know,
There's
nobody said anything that I would chastise them for, so that's good. Aside
Mhm.
from trying to steal my identity.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, yeah. Good job, boys. Good job. But yeah, but Josh, it well, it's been It's been an undisclosed
That's
amount
right.
of time since you and I last spoke because
That's right.
I was super lame last ep. So
Yeah.
actually, I was just super tired because I've been working a ton lately, which is not. It's
Mm.
it's kind of a good problem to have. Like it also, you know, meh. It does take its toll. But I would like to know how it's been since we last spoke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good. It's been a few weeks where it's hard for me to identify exactly what we've been into. It's just kind of been life. So I don't know how else to say it. I didn't give too much thought into this segment, except to say that hey, we're doing good. Weather's cooling down because of course we have to talk about the weather, right? So that's been nice. But no, we're doing well. Yesterday I helped a friend move, and
Hmm.
if you've ever helped a friend move before, you're
It's
like,
the
oh yeah,
worst.
it should it's
I
just a
love
few.
I love my friends, but like helping people move, I
Get,
hate it.
you get a few guys together, after church. It only take a couple hours, right? 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 And yeah, so it was
Nope.
one of those. But I mean, I was happy to help. The only downside was that this friend has a few pets, couple dogs and a cat, and unfortunately, I'm allergic to cats. And when you move, I don't know if you know this, you're
Oh,
picking up stuff that has not been picked up in years.
and
So
all
all
that
that stuff.
repressed cat dander,
Yeah.
just get it all up in your system.
Exactly. So, fighting
Mm.
allergies pretty much, well, no, up until I went to bed last night. So, thankfully, it was all gone by this morning pretty much. So, I'm good, and it's just, it's just one of the things. It just happens, like, what are you gonna do? So, anyways, that's what I've been up to, but we're doing well. Is good. I'm glad we're approaching the fall, hitting more of a little bit of a heading towards normalcy of routines and stuff like that, but we're doing well.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Dude, we're doing pretty good. I mean, like I said, I've been working a lot lately. Just
Yeah.
like picking up overtime pretty much most of the days that I'm working. And it's like it's kind of a good problem to have. It's like and what I will say is that I actually enjoy kind of working the overtime. It's
Okay.
weird. Because now it's like now that I know it's kind of like my choice to
Mhm.
work it, and the other thing is like the route that I'm on now is it's a pretty nice route, and it's like
Sweet.
so it's like I'm like I actually don't mind being here a little later most days.
Okay.
I'm probably going to into next quarter. I'm probably because like right now the overtime list I'm on means like I can take like if they offer me to work my day off, like I can work it like um and I do have like it's like so, but going into like November or October, November, December, I'm going to just say like I can take extra work on the days that I come in, but I can't work my days off, which because we keep Byron home
Mhm.
from daycare, and I like to if it's possible, have that time with him.
For
So,
sure. Yeah.
but yeah, we're doing pretty good. Asher, the puppy,
That's right.
he's he is like he's earned a new nickname, and it's a little like spicy, but it's the ash hole. Um,
Ah.
it's like I said, it's like mildly spicy.
Mhm.
Um, he's great. He's really smart, but he's in that puppy thing where it's like everything is in his mouth all the time,
Yep.
and sometimes that's like your hand or whatever, and it's like or something that like you really don't want him to chew, like somebody's shoes or
Yep.
one of Byron's toys or and it's just like, "Oh my gosh, dog." And it's like and the worst part is like we tend to sort of like pamper our pets a little bit,
For
not
sure. Yeah.
terribly. But
Yeah.
it's like we get them like good food and
Okay.
good snacks and we get them like toys. And so he's got like all this stuff to chew and he's like, "Let me chew on your ankle instead." And I'm like,
Yep.
"Dog, like I'm going to kill you." He's
Mhm.
also just like he's really smart and it's like one of those things in like probably like 2 years, he's gonna be like the best dog ever. But up until that point, it's gonna be a lot of like this stage of puppy is just gonna be like puppies are fine, and he's already housebroken, so it's like he's very smart.
Sweet.
Like
Nice.
he does occasionally mark in the house,
Okay.
but not terribly so. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's more of
Yeah.
like he's pretty much housebroken.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah. But yeah, it's just like it's pretty cool. Like we're just kind of like chilling. Um I'm gonna say like originally what I wanted to talk about is like because I'm gonna save it for our the XP share. So, but yeah, because like I
Ah.
had like a little bit of a highlight, but I kind of want to I want
Okay.
to save that and want to explore that for a minute. But
Okay.
yeah, so
I like that. I like
but
that.
yeah. So yeah, that's we're doing pretty good. Just kind of vibing. You know, it's Megan's back in school, Byron's back in daycare.
Right.
We're kind of just like cruising along today. Today was Memorial Day, so did some like Memorial Day stuff. You know, it's like yeah,
It's actually Labor Day.
Labor Day. What? That's it. Jeez. Well, it is late. Oh.
Yes, that's
But
true.
yeah,
So it's no
it's
longer
Labor
Labor Day.
Day. But yeah, we didn't do like much cooking out, but like you know yeah we just kind of chilled, enjoyed
Yeah.
the day, took
Yep.
the day off from labor. But yeah,
Hmm.
so
Sweet. Nice, dude. Well,
yeah,
you mentioned sharing
XP
some
share. Yeah.
experiences. Yeah. So let's get into it.
You know, I'm starting to think we're never going to change this jingle.
Maybe not. You know, maybe it'll just stay here indefinitely.
Has that been your plan from the get-go?
No,
Is
it honestly has not. I am just that lazy that I have not gotten around to
maybe
creating something else. It
maybe
really was just supposed to be like a one-off joke with Wes of this very Pokemon themed version of it, but it's
I'm
stuck around.
you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump on Suno and I'm going to get some like AI
Ska.
slop, and I'm gonna get some like punk ska, and I'm gonna send it to you and be like, okay, like we need to just switch it up for a little bit. You know, there was at one point in time we had like joked around with like how insane it would be to just like write a new AI slop song for
Mhm.
like different guests and like different
Yeah.
episodes and stuff. But yeah, so
Yeah. I like it. That's a good experience that you're sharing with us right now. I like
no,
it.
but we didn't actually do that thing. So that's not really an experience. It's more of like a sort of an an
Theoretical
exploration of an
experience.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
But so what what do you bring to the table tonight as far as experiences that you would
Yeah.
like to share with the audience,
So I don't
viewing
have
and
that
or
much.
listening? Yeah, and I
Right.
interrupted you on purpose because I'm a jerk.
um well, the first thing is it's actually it's based on a book. It was a documentary. So I need to actually go back and listen, or excuse me, listen slash read the book. But it's called Notes from the Tilt-A-Whirl by N.D. Wilson.
Hmm.
And it's basically it just talks about how the world that we live on, how magnificent it is, the way that God has created it, and how we so often take it for granted. And you know, something as simple as like a bird comes from an egg, like hatches inside of an egg that's created in its mother's body, and turns into this winged beast that can fly through the air instinctually. Like all those things sound like it comes from a fairy tale if you're not already, if you don't take it for granted, basically. If you don't already know that those things exist, like that sounds like something that someone would make up. Um, and so it reminded me a lot of there's a chapter in the book we covered earlier this year, in the Haunted Cosmos, that talked about these similar themes, but he does it in a way. He intersperses some poetry throughout the book, just a couple times, that was really beautiful, I thought. It's
Mhm.
beautiful in its very mundane. It takes very mundane things and shows the beauty within them, that I thought was really cool. So I was really struck by at least the video version of it. So I'm sure the book is even better, which I do plan on getting around to. But at least the documentary was really good. So that one comes highly recommended. The only other experiences that I'm trying to think of that I want to share are not necessarily ones that I uh, would wholeheartedly recommend, but it's just some things that I've been getting into. On the last couple episodes, I talked about how I've been listening to some older prog rock stuff like Genesis, and so I've been delving a little deeper into that and checking out, and I've heard a few albums by the band Yes. But they have an extensive catalog. Been listening to some of that. Been listening to this other band that is, I'm not sure. Part I'm split because part of me loves what they do, and then part of me is like, okay, you guys have taken this too far, and it's almost no longer music. And that is a band called Gentle Giant, and they were only around for like 10 years, I think, in the 70s and 80s. But they are a crazy prog rock band that is, on the one hand, insanely talented, and on the other hand, maybe too talented for their own good, because sometimes I just get lost in everything. But when it hits, it hits. So they're really
Cool.
good. Anyways, so that I've been into that. The other thing that I've been into, and it's hard to, I'll try to encapsulate this and try and do it quickly. But as I'm thinking about the things that I want my children to be learning over the next year, since we homeschool, I've been considering classic works of literature and what I can introduce to my soon to be 10-year-old over the course of the next year. And so it's had me think. I mean, honestly, I've been kind of kicking this around for the past few months, but especially here over the past couple of weeks, is what in specific, specific classic literature I want him to be reading, or at least be familiar with. And then so then there's the deeper question of what is education, how do I want to educate my child, and what I want him to learn, and what about the Western tradition do I want him to know, and things like that. So anyways, that's kind of come to a head, at least so far, with this
Mm.
idea of classic literature that I would like for him to be reading. So that's been kind of my headspace, and part of that's like, oh yeah, I should probably read some more. But it certainly has me questioning, like, okay, what are some things that I can at least introduce, and when we can start reading over the next year. We've been reading some Greek myths, Dolaris book of Greek myths. We've been reading that together at different times, and he's enjoyed that. So at least kind of gotten his feet wet a little bit, but there's a lot. There's a lot to read. So that's where my head's been at. Those are the experiences I wanted to share.
Yeah.
What experiences do you have?
Well, I'm not trying to derail too much, but like
Yeah.
what I am kind of curious about, like what do you have in mind? Like, is there anything in mind that you have for Ollie that like you're kind of like thinking? I don't
So
know that I would have any like really constructive feedback. I'm just kind of curious as to like would what you're kind of looking at.
yeah, one that pops up a lot for kind of his age, or at least kind of entering in, is Charlotte's Web, and he's familiar with that overall
Hmm.
story. But that's one. We also have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That one, we started that one, and it's actually quite easy. It's quite a bit easier than I kind of expected. So I'm sure he'll kind of blaze through that pretty easily. Things like that. I've also been looking into stuff like, Shakespeare plays that I need to be more familiar with before I can start to teach it to him. um even teaching him about, Roman Roman government and things like that
Mm,
with Julius Caesar, something. Because I do plan on at least introducing him to Latin. Hopefully this year is the idea. That's the plan. So there's
yeah,
there's some cultural stuff to teach him with that as well.
yeah.
But not sure that we're ready to kind of jump in with both feet with all of that. But
Do you think, and this
Mhm.
is just like something that it's like, did you ever read Where the Red Fern Grows?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Like, I know Ollie's pretty sensitive, but like,
Sure.
I remember loving that book as a boy. Like, it broke my heart,
Yeah.
but I actually loved that book as a boy. Now, I think I was a little bit younger than Ollie when I read that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but I still have like that's like one of those books that just sticks with me.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, for sure.
White Fang by Jack London, I think is like
Okay.
that's kind of a really cool book. I think for that might be like that one's a little like harsh in the sense. It's
Okay.
I don't
Mhm.
remember there being any
Yeah,
like
that's
hard
Jack London.
language or anything, but it's like it
Mhm.
was pretty like it's a pretty kind of like brutal tale in some ways, but it's like it's kind of like I remember loving that book too as a kid. I'm just trying to think like those are like I know that sometimes like those are part of like the American classic lit
Right.
canon,
Yeah.
and those ones like Treasure Island
Right.
is pretty
Yeah.
good. I remember really liking that as a kid. I'm trying to think about like what I read. I was a prodigious reader when I was young, and it's
Okay.
like you're like I should probably read more. I'm like I think that all the time. I'm like I should probably read way more than I actually do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's cool though, man. That's like a fun question. That's actually like something that I just think about, like even just like with Byron, and
Mhm.
he's sort of at an age like where it's like he's not quite ready, but I think probably here in the next year or so, like I'm gonna really start like cultivating like the things that I want him to see
Yeah.
and experience, and like even like the stuff that he plays, if he plays anything, like
Mhm.
um so yeah. But yeah, that's cool.
For
That's
sure.
cool. That's fun. I'd be interested to just sort of hear like what you come up with, like. And dude,
Cool.
like I'm way into like exposing kids to like my love of mythology.
Yeah.
Because I do love mythology. Like, and it's like, and I'm not even gonna get like weird tinfoil hat on it, like where it's like, but it's like because I have positions on the myths that I
Okay.
think might put me outside of some people. Um,
Okay. Okay.
they were real and they
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
were
There you go. There you
Nephilim.
go.
It's not
Yeah.
that big a surprise to anybody who's been paying attention for
Sure.
any amount of time. But or maybe fallen angels, but
Yeah.
still
Right.
same
Right. In
same
that
thing.
same camp. Yes. Yes.
Same
Yeah.
thing in in that regard.
They were closer to King Arthur than the, I don't know, Narnia or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But
Which is another one that I wanna, Tales
dude, like
of King Arthur somehow. But even, I was listening to an overview of Sir, Gawain and the Green Knight,
mhm.
and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I don't wanna go into this just yet." Some of the
There
plot lines,
well, and
even
even
Lancelot.
there
It's like
are probably age appropriate translations for
right,
some of that stuff,
right.
but yeah,
Yeah,
that's yeah, the Arthurian legend, all that stuff. That's fun. That's fun stuff. But yeah,
yeah.
it's just interesting because I'm thinking about like, okay, like yeah, I actually want to start because like right now we just kind of like we watch like Thomas,
Yeah.
and we watched the new one. So yeah, I know some of our audience is like the new Thomas sucks, and I'm like, listen, my 2-year-old likes it, so kid
Right.
rocks.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
yeah, I mean, it's kinda like yeah, it's one of those things, sure, you'll have those people who are like, "Oh, he should only be listening to classical music and never staring at a screen ever." Um, but I think in the real world, it's like it's harder because I tried to introduce my kids to The Hobbit. I read them like the
mhm,
first chapter when they were pretty young, and it was like pulling teeth. Like they sat for like 2 pages and then just wanted to get up and play. And I was like, "Oh, but this story is so good and you don't want to listen." And it's just
yeah,
it's the
it's
age,
the age.
there's one part where like, yeah, if you have it on in the back, an audiobook on in the background, they could pick up on some stuff. Sure. but don't put it on yourself to like, oh, they have to understand these things at super young
Like,
ages. Like,
and
you
when
got time.
he's a little older, I definitely do want to start like reading books with him.
Yeah,
Like the Chronicles of Narnia is going to
right.
be like one of those ones. Yeah. But yeah, it's like he's 2. He's going to be 3 in November. It's like, dude,
Yeah, you got
yeah,
plenty of time. Yeah.
we got time. Like, and it's like for now, it's just like just kind of keep him away from like the absolute tripe like Coco Melon. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Good luck.
yeah. Well, I mean, we've dodged it so far.
Sweet.
So for the most part, but as far as non-video game experiences slash
Right?
media, so I know like last episode where I was on, we talked about Sanders, or when Paul was on, we ended up talking about
Mhm.
Sanderson, and that might have been like a bro hang. Um, it might have been main episode energy, but it might have been a bro hang. But like,
Sure.
and I kind of bagged on Brandon Sanderson. I said like basically like he's good, but I just think he's kind of like he's like in comparison to like the fantasy that like I cut like the high fantasy that I cut my teeth on. Like he's like mid shelf at best.
Yeah.
And what I would do is like I'm coming back and I'm self correcting, not because I think like listen, I think um his Mistborn books are pretty good, and I've read both the original trilogy and the second quadrology. I like that. I like that world. I like his the Way of Kings books too. I think he's good. I just also like we were talking about it. And it's like I was coming off of like Till We Have Faces, and I was coming off of like Infinite Jest, and I'm like those are like literary masterpieces.
Mhm.
And it's like, and then I'm kind of like bagging on Brandon Sanderson for being like basically a blue collar, like, like kind of workhorse author. And I'm like, that's not really fair. But, and it doesn't change the fact that I do feel like that the high fantasy stuff of his is not my favorite. I listened to, a book. So a while ago, he had done like these secret projects, and they were like Kickstarter
Okay.
funded and everything else. But the first one was a book that he wrote specifically for his wife and ended up sharing with people. And it's called Tress of the Emerald Sea, or hold on, the Emerald Ocean, I believe. Let me just check my notes here. Tress of the Emerald Sea, a Cosmere novel by Brandon Sanderson. And no, granted, I listened to it and it was sort of like one of those things where there was some like voice acting. It wasn't dramatized, but it was kind of like they had a full cast and it was like narrated, and then the dialogue was read, and it was sort of like so it was like dramatized, right? And it was set, it had like background music. But in listening to that, I was like, oh no, like this is actually really excellent. And so part of my theory, like part of like the theory, and I shared this with you, is that I think his high fantasy is kind of like it's good. It's better. It's not just merely functional. It's good, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like Tress is almost like a bit of a fairy tale, and
'Kay.
that was excellent. Like
Mm.
I really liked that. Like I thought like I was like, "Oh, I just like to me," and it's like I just don't like the style that he employs with this other stuff. There's something about that particular like mode of storytelling that I think he just really excels at.
Mhm.
Like his voice in that book, like his authorial voice in that book, I thought was like I was like, dude, this kills. Like
Mm.
this is killer. I love this. Just because like, I thought the story was fun, and but it was like it was just like the way he wrote it. And I was like, oh, this slaps, my guy. Like, and I've listened to some other stuff from the because I think he did 5 secret project books. So I've ended up listening to all of them. And I
'Kay.
liked it was 4 or 5, and I liked all of them. But Tress, I was like, oh, this is this is by far, in my opinion, it is far and above like his best work. And I think that's like I'm just like, this is just what you need to write stuff like this all the time. Like this is like that's your voice, man. That's the voice that really resonates. But again, that's a personal preference kind of thing. So it's like, but to me that was like, so it comes very highly recommended. It's a little bit of a subversion of like the like typical fairy tale knight in shining armor kind of stuff, but it's fun. It's kind of and he kind of does it like, I think Sanderson's world building is always like the most interesting thing, and he does a really good job of kind of blending some really interesting world building alongside a really fun story. So I like Tress of the Emerald Isle. I think it's, or the Emerald Ocean. I think it's
Hmm.
Emerald Sea, whatever it is. It's a sea, Emerald Sea.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's good. I recommend it. Um,
Nice.
I don't really recant my previous statement about Sanderson. I think,
Hmm.
and like I said, it wasn't like I was like, oh, he sucks, he's a hack. I was like, I think he's good. I just think he's overrated. And then I read
Sure.
Tress, and I was like, oh no, it's just like this is this is the voice that I prefer from him. I think
Okay.
I I think in my opinion, I think it's his best work. But that's just me.
Cool.
Um,
Nice.
People are allowed to differ. They're allowed to be wrong. In addition to that, yeah, and that's what I said. What I said. In addition to that, I'm listening to a book called "The Feeding"
Hmm.
by The Feeding by Anthony Ryan. And Anthony Ryan, I can't remember what the title of the other stuff was, but he had done some like grimdark kind of like brutalist fantasy that I had listened to
Okay.
a while back, and I liked his stuff. And this is just like something that Audible kind of like spit at me and said, "Hey, if you like this, you're probably gonna like this." And so I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's check that thing out." Um, and it's like it seems like it's gonna be sort of like vampire, like horror kind of like
Okay.
vampires came and like they attacked
Fed on
America,
people.
fed on people, and it's sort of changed the world into a post-apocalyptic wasteland kind of thing.
Okay.
So we'll see. But I'm not. I'm enjoying it so far, but there is like a lot of language,
Okay.
like,
Okay.
um, yeah. Uh, so yeah, I don't hate. I like it. I kind of like his style, like, but he's I mean, I like grimdark, so man, it's like, listen, you're like there's a whole vibe that I just like. I kind of like eat that up. So yeah. But the last like sort of experience I want to share is like tonight. I talked about like the Labor Day stuff and how we just kind of chilled.
Hmm.
We had a bunch of cardboard in the the basement, in our basement, and we had talked about um we usually just go, we have a fire ring in our backyard, and we usually just
Hmm.
burn cardboard and that. But it's like we have a bunch of like firewood sort of that we've just like we've had a couple of trees cut down, and it's like we have wood from that. We have a fireplace,
Yep.
and sometimes we burn firewood in that, but we just have like we have a few stacks of firewood sort of laying around the property. And I just said to Megan, I said, hey, like let's just have a fire. And actually we're planning to just have them, I think, a little more frequently. Like we already have plans with some friends for next weekend to have a fire.
Sweet.
So but yeah, we're just kind of like, we sat out, I made a fire, we burnt cardboard, and then I used that to sort of actually make like a real fire with chunks of wood.
Hmm.
Um and then we toasted some marshmallows, did s'mores with the boy. and
Uh,
and I would posit, and listen, part of the fun, now you can get like the marshmallow pokers or the hot dog sticks at the store, right?
sure.
But
Yeah.
like when I was growing up, what you did is you just got a branch. Like you went into the
Sure.
woods and you just got a branch, and like you cleaned off part, like you sharpened part of the end, and that's what you cooked your stuff with. And I had this stick that, it's frankly, it's a little drier than I'd like it to be, but
Okay.
like I
Okay.
pretty much have like a perfect marshmallow cooking stick. And I have
Ah.
like, I mean, I have like a point on it that's like this long, and it's like really thin so that you could get like a marshmallow on there pretty good. I was just like, there's something deeply satisfying about like getting like a good cooking stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, and yeah, and just like having a fire and just like kind of like it's that time of year where it's like we were talking a little bit about weather. It's gotten cold ish, and it's just been nice. You know,
Hmm.
it's like I this is my favorite time of year where it's like, hey, flannels and shorts are like hoodie and shorts, perfectly acceptable, like casual wear
Yeah.
out and about.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Nice. I get it. That does sound very satisfying for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it as far as like normal experiences. But
Hmm.
what are you like? What about some video games? We are a video game podcast.
Oh,
Have you been
yeah.
playing anything interesting lately?
Video games, those things. I've only been playing a little bit, mostly with my kids, funny enough. So, what we, I had mentioned it actually on the last episode. We had just started it, but we actually ended up finishing it the other day, which is Battletoads. Played through that on Game Pass, and this is the newer one. It came out a few
Yeah.
years ago, and we had a really fun time with it. It takes the ideas from the original NES game, both in its difficulty, ha ha ha, and how the levels, like, it's not just a beat 'em up. It starts off, it's mainly a beat 'em up, and then the levels
It
do
does
different
some other
things.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
for
played it a
better
few
and for
years ago
worse.
with Parker.
That's
But
right. That's
yeah.
right. I
So,
remember you mentioning it. And
mhm.
so we had a fun time with it. It's dumb. I liked the humor for the most part. It was
Mhm.
stupid humor. But I was just a little nervous. There were definitely some parts where I was like, wish my kids hadn't heard that. Um,
Mhm.
for just some of the crude humor or and things, and frankly, I mean, okay, early on there's a scene, it's straight up blasphemy, where one of the Battletoads is like, I am God, but it's mocked, like, and then he realizes everything that had just happened was all just like was not real. Okay, so even though
Mm.
he felt like he was on top of the world, like, it is intentionally mocked in the story. It's just the fact that that came out of a character's mouth multiple times was just
Mhm.
like, I don't like that.
It's
And
not my
especially because he's
favorite.
one of the protagonists. Right, right.
Mhm.
So it's played for laughs. It is a joke, and it's like, in context, it is like, it is not it is not as though that were true in any sense. So I get it, but yeah, there were just some things like that. Although I will say there was no, at least none that I remember, and I'm kind of on high alert because I got my kids around. There was no sexual humor, which I was very surprised, just because it's crude and it's stupid humor.
Mhm. Yeah.
But there wasn't any sexual humor, so that was good. Um, so yeah, I had a fun time with it. It's nothing that's gonna like blow your socks off, but it was a fun time, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was dumb, and my kids liked the humor too, and just how stupid the
Yeah.
toads were. So
Hey, dumb
we had a good
fun
time with it.
is it's still fun.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah,
So,
and yeah. So it does get difficult at times. Thankfully, it is not like the original NES game, and throws you back to the very beginning of the game after you lose 3 lives, because the game would be impossible if that were the case. It starts you, there are tons of checkpoints throughout the game, and you play parts multiple times because it's so difficult. So, but it was a good time. I enjoyed it. Battletoads. I do get a flex point for that since it's on Game Pass, so that's 2 down for the year, of my possible 3 flex points. So I'm taking a -1 for beating that and rolling
mhm.
credits. I have currently been playing by myself, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, because it's on Game Pass. I've been taking advantage of that and playing through some of this game. Um, I enjoy the game. I think my expectations were a little too high, to start off with, because although it does a ton of things right, it does a ton of things really well. It's very, like, even just the opening of the game is very gripping. Um, there are a number of things that, because I'll say, because it's kind of science fiction fantasy, there are so many terms that are thrown out at the beginning of the
The
game.
proper noun
Y-
fatigue. Yeah.
yes, that I don't know what the game is talking about half the time, or at least not half the time. That's an over exaggeration. I feel lost. That's what it is. Okay, I'm like 5 hours in.
Because it's like, here's chroma and this
Yep,
and
and
this and
Pictos that
this
give you
and
Lumina, but you need
Mhm.
Lumina points in order to do that, and but don't worry, if you have the Picto equipped for 4 battles, then you can equip it without having it equipped, and yeah, like, it goes, "Oh, and here are, magical stains that you get if you use these certain things. Oh, and
Mhm.
this character changes stance." So, there's just so much that it throws out at you, and
Mhm.
I was gonna say it expects you to learn. Well, yes and no. You don't have to, it's not super difficult. I'm just saying I feel like I'm playing blind a little bit,
Mhm.
because I feel like some of the stuff is going over my head, and I'm not trying to understand. I don't need to understand it right now, so I'm just kind of forging ahead, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. I feel like I'm not playing optimally, but that's
No,
okay.
and you probably, and like honestly, I think for most of the first chapter,
Okay.
you probably won't. Like
Okay.
maybe towards the end of the maybe towards the end of the first chapter, you'll be
Mhm.
like, oh, like things will start to really click because
Mhm.
like the pictos and all the like the lumina and the points and all that stuff, like it's pretty. I imagine you're fairly early on still. It's like that's
Mhm.
pretty restricted. Like it's like you
'Kay.
don't have access to some of like the really, but it's all like it's all build crafting stuff. It's so it's like
Right.
you can,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do think like it's one of those things where like I'm kind of like I understand the fatigue there. Like I said, the proper noun fatigue because it's like here like this is a picto and blah 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 blah
Mhm.
and it's like they could have just said like, "Hey, these are ability points. This is like these are skills. These are
Right.
like whatever." The what I will tell you is that like all like the chroma picto, it's like it's all part of a theme. That's why those things are
Right.
called what they are.
Yep.
Is it's like as you get further into the game, like it's gonna be like, oh,
Mhm.
that's like as this sort of the story spools out a little bit, like it's
Mhm.
like, oh, like these things aren't insignificant. It is like a little kind of like, yeah, it's like, yeah, but
And
yeah,
that
no,
so it goes for the battles, it also goes for the story. There's a number
hmm
of things, the homage and, all this other stuff that it introduces you to, but it also kind of expects you to, okay, now that we've introduced it, now you know what it is, and we're gonna continue to refer to it. And then there's also a lot of things that it just doesn't get you up to speed on, which I understand in terms of storytelling. It's to uh, to hook you, so that you'll continue on. So I
hmm
don't know what's going on. It kind of drops you in and gives you hints as to who people are and what they're doing, and why they're doing what they're doing and things like that.
hmm
And that combined with mechanically, it's not open world, but it is not extremely clear where you can and can't go in different areas. And
hmm
so you will hit an invisible wall that, oh, I didn't think that was an invisible wall. Okay. And so for someone
yeah,
who likes to explore the areas and find the hidden things, I've kind of had to abandon that and just be like, okay, no, I'm just going to go. And if I miss something, I miss something. Like, I'm just going to go, which is not how I typically play these types of games.
hmm
And so I'm just saying, like, these parts of it have me feeling like there's a lot of the game I'm missing. But okay, I'm gonna continue on
I
with it. But we
I
continue.
I don't think that you're missing as much as you think you are.
Okay, cool,
Um,
cool. That's good to know.
it's like part of like what I will say is that I do think some of like the level design stuff is a little confusing, and it is one of those things where honestly I'm not even asking for like a mini map, which I know that some people are like, I need a mini map, but I think what would have been kind of cool is not to just like is to kind of as you're exploring,
Mhm.
like to not give you a mini map per se, but like have it so that the mini map builds out as you're exploring.
Yeah.
That way you could kind of see like, hey, like this is where I've been, so that it's not just that is it is a little like that's one thing where it's like, yeah, that's a little frustrating too, but yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm curious to see where you end up landing on that game
Mhm.
because like I said, I did sort of back off a little bit, but it's like it's
Sure.
still my favorite thing that I've played this year, and it's one
Yeah.
of my favorite RPGs that I've played in a long time. Like I think it's you and I were sort of talking off, when we were, even before we recorded like the bro hang, we were
Mhm.
sort of talking. And I said, I just really wish that they would have leaned into the interactivity of like the menu prompts in combat because I,
Mhm.
I think like the parry system and the dodge system is really great. And I'm like,
Yes.
it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
like one of my favorite things. I also just wish that like, hey, if you would have maybe leaned into maybe sort of like the Mario RPG or even sort of like a Shadow Hearts kind of thing, where it's if you would have made the combat and special attacks a little more interactive and then given like buffs for performance of like a mini game thing. Like Shadow Hearts is like
Mhm.
the ring thing. Mario RPG does like the if you time the button press with the attack, you do like a little bit more damage, like
Yep.
5-10% more damage. It's like something like that I think would have been really like just really lean into like the interactive, like, yes, this is
Mhm.
turn-based combat, but it's also more than that as
Yeah.
well. And I think like that's an area where I do wish that they had like pressed into that a little bit more. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to like, I really am looking forward to seeing where you end up landing with this game because I think it's pretty something really special.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know I've sounded pretty negative, and
Hmm.
that's just and it's because I had very high hopes going in. I've heard nothing but good things about the game, and so these things just stick out a little bit more to me. But again, I'm in a mode where I'm like, I'm pressing forward. Like I'm not it's not deterring me. It's just a little jarring at this point. The yeah,
I
because
think
because
I
it's a
think
little
though that
overwhelming.
that's I don't know if that's by design, but
Right.
it is like but it is just like I do think like the more you play it,
Mhm.
like narratively and systemically. So
Yep.
mechanically and narratively, I do feel like the more you play it and the more you sort of lean into it, the more like all those pieces start to fill in. So I
Yep.
do think like some of that confusion up front,
Mhm.
sometimes I wonder if that wasn't by design to a certain
Right.
extent. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Where they're like, no, we're just going to throw a bunch of stuff at you, and some of it's going to stick a little bit easier, but it's like
Mhm.
it's going to be a lot because like maybe even sort of in a way like, hey, like these characters are actually just sort of like you as the player are sort of experiencing some, like to a certain extent some of what like because there's just a ton of stuff being thrown at you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, like the gamage and everything, like they're like it it doesn't do a great job of explaining that, but
Mhm.
then as you play again, sort of some of that stuff unfolds and
Right.
you're like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
again,
And
so
and you get a very clear picture of what happens because of the opening, the prologue of the
mhm.
game. So it's not that it doesn't explain it. It's that it doesn't explain it further. It explains what it is now, but why, all this, all the, you don't
Yeah.
get any of that. So, the only other thing that I wanted to say is again, because I'm kind of bringing up these negative things, is one of the things where I said that even traversal, it feels like there's invisible walls around you.
Mhm.
The flip side of that is part of the reason it does that is because some of the areas you're going through are so imaginative.
Mhm.
that it's hard to see. So I actually love the enemy design so far.
Mhm.
I love how otherworldly things feel.
Yeah.
Um, which is it's yeah, it just feels very it feels like something that would be in, like, a Persona or, even Metaphor. I haven't even played the game, but something
Mhm.
like that. Some of the crazy designs of, like, a Shin Megami Tensei, but not in 2D, reimagined in this 3D, more realistic style. So I really like it. It's just disorienting also at the same time. So again, like you said, it might just be, yeah, that's kind of how they want you to feel. Which I'm cool. Let's go.
'Cause it does
I'm gonna
sort of, like,
continue and keep playing
mirror
and we'll do this. The
the
last thing I'll say is that I'm also
Uh-oh,
not impressed with the
you're
main
frozen.
character so far. Oh
Oh, there
no.
uh-oh. There was,
Okay.
like, a you kinda, like, skipped out a little bit, so you probably
Okay.
but I was just gonna like, it was you froze there for a second, and I thought,
Mhm.
like, "Oh, maybe he's done talking," and so anyways, but then I realized you were just like, this"
Uh,
again, "Hey, Zencastr, it's not like we're giving you money or anything."
super
Meh.
awesome. Th
Sick, bro, but
the the
I
last
was just gonna
thing
say it kind
yeah.
of the one thought I was is like it does kind of like mirror again this sort of like almost like the overload
Yeah.
of like these
Yeah.
characters. They're just kind of thrown into this thing, and you're just kind of thrown into this thing, and it's
Right.
like
Right.
like yeah, I don't know. I like that. I kind of hope that that was on purpose. you
Yeah.
know,
Sure.
I don't know, but
Mhm.
maybe, but maybe.
Yeah. And I get that you don't wanna not every game can I just referenced Persona. Not every game wants to have a 4-hour opening, that's mostly text. I
Dude,
get it. I get it.
I really like I think that's one of the things I really liked about Expedition is that you do that sort of like that tutorial, like that entry level thing. And
Mhm.
there's like and that's pretty quick. That's like maybe an hour, 45
Right.
minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just throws you into the game and you're like, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
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 I
Here are the
I,
stakes. Yeah.
I kind of love the fact that they just kind of like they actually like just sort of and not even just but even gameplay wise, they're like, here's the game. Like actually play it.
Mhm.
Like, it's like we kind of held your hand for a little bit. Now go do the things. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of love that.
And run into a boss that, is way, too strong for you to fight. But anyway, at least that's what I did, almost immediately. So, anyways,
Hmm.
been playing that. I don't know how far I will continue with Game Pass at this point because I do still have, we've got Spooktober coming up. We've got
Hmm.
other games to play, so I doubt that I'm going to finish it. I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to finish it. We'll see. But it'll either be after Game Pass is up, I'll get another month, or maybe I'll just go and buy the game outright at that point. Who
Hmm.
knows? We'll see. But that's where I'm at so far. My current beatdown score is at a -10 after that point that I got for Battletoads. So looking pretty
Nice.
healthy so far.
Cool. Cool. So as far as games that I've been playing, I did end up wrapping up Ratchet and Clank,
Oh,
the
cool.
PS4 sort of reboot,
Mhm.
from I want to say 2016, but that doesn't feel right. Maybe 2013. But anyway,
Yeah,
it's
that was the one that
older.
came out with the movie, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's
Sweet.
good. It's really pretty good. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's very much like sort of harkens back to that PS3 era. And it's kind of that thing
Mhm.
where it's like we've talked about 3D platformers and kind of like my disdain for them. And it's like it has 3D platforming elements, but there's lots of gadgets. There's like the gun. It's like kind of a third person shooter thing, and it's just like it's fun. I had a lot of fun
Mhm.
playing that game. There was like a couple sequences that I didn't really enjoy.
Okay.
I mostly I hate a certain design inclination where it's like, hey, we're gonna have your character run towards you. Like the character's going to be running away from something that's
Oh,
approaching you
yeah.
from the background,
Mhm.
and then like, so the character's going to be. I don't like that as a design choice. I didn't like it in Crash Bandicoot back on the original
Mhm.
PlayStation. I don't like it. It's not my favorite. It's I I actually think that's really pretty bad. And
Mhm.
even when it's well done, I find it to be barely tolerable.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so I played that game. I liked it. Overall, I'd recommend it. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't think it's like anything like didn't blow my mind, but
Sure.
uh, as far as like just like what I'm playing as a general right now, it's just really two games. It's Astral Chain, and that's a
Okay.
podcast pick.
Mhm.
And then I'm playing Dragon Quest Builders. I went back to
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
and that's more of like that's just like Nate. It's very cozy, and it's like I got through the second act. I'm in Act 3 now, and there's 4 acts to that game. And from what I understand, the first 2 acts are pretty beefy, and then the
Okay.
second, the third and fourth tend to go along a little quicker. And
Gotcha.
I just really love that. Like I really like that game. Like it's like yeah, I really like that game. I think it's kind of like one of those things where it's like it's just cozy and charming and it's just
Mhm.
fun. And it's like
Mhm.
I want to beat it and then I'm going to just kind of keep my eyes open for a sale on the second one and
Sweet.
yeah, I'm just like yeah.
I don't know about you, but, I get the nostalgia too for the redone tunes, for the
Mhm.
music that's all, like, original Dragon Quest just kinda redone in a
But
very cozy style, yeah.
yeah, and it's like it's just like it's a fun gameplay loop. Like
Mhm.
I don't really like those survival crafting games. Like
Right.
they're just like they're fine. I don't hate them, but they're just like it's like Don't Starve and Minecraft and like all that stuff where it's like, hey, like find this stuff and do this. And it's like they didn't really appeal to me, but like this
Mhm.
game just sort of like the setting and the vibes and everything. And it's really kind of a shame because I just don't know that they're gonna make any more of them. And it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I mean, they might make a third one, but it's just like I just really like the first one, and I've heard the second one's even better, and I'm just like, daggone it, like I really like this. I need more of this.
Mhm.
Um, so, but yeah, so I'm playing that. Haven't beaten that yet. I'm probably about halfway through Astral Chain.
'Kay.
Um, and I was playing it on like casual, I think before, which is like it doesn't grade your fights or it doesn't grade the chapters. You know what I'm saying? It just sort
Right.
of like it's like but I was I felt like that was like a little too easy.
'Kay.
Um so I stepped it up and I started doing I turned it up to the next difficulty setting and actually that feels really good. It feels like a little
Sweet.
bit much sometimes, but it's like
Mhm.
I think on the other side of that, it like combat felt too easy.
Mhm.
And I do have thoughts, and I'm going to save those for um mostly for the episode. I think that but there's like one thing in particular. I think the twin stick stuff
Mhm.
is just not done. Like I like the idea.
Mhm.
I don't think I like the implementation in this game.
'Kay.
Like I just I have ideas on how you could fix that like to where I think it would feel like really good. Um but we'll save that for when we do the episode on it.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Yeah.
but yeah, I haven't beaten either one of those yet. I did, like I said, I did beat Ratchet and Clank.
Mhm.
So that gives me a -1, and I was at -5, and so that would put me at -6. But I did a thing. So, and we talked about this. It's like I haven't played it yet, but I'm just going to take the point for playing it because I will inevitably. But Megan really likes Mario Kart.
Mhm.
And the other week we had a date night. We actually went out for our anniversary. It was like a little
That's
later
right.
and a little later than the actual anniversary, but we went and we went to a fancy dinner and then we ended up going to Walmart and we played the Mario Kart World demo and she
Nice.
really liked that demo. And so today I was at Walmart. I was running some errands, and it was so funny because there was a bunch of like college kids standing around. They're all sort of eyeballing the stuff, like the Switch 2 and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Like kind of a little enviously, kind of just like just like, you can tell that they're all just like, oh man, I wish I had this. Like,
Right. Right.
and when I kind of rolled, I had, yeah, because you have to get the associate, and it's like,
Yep.
and I actually got that in a pro controller.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm just, anyways,
Overtime
so
comes in handy.
yeah, um, yeah. Anyways, but you could tell like the one kid just was like, he was looking at me, and I said, do you have a Switch 2 yet? And he said, no. He said, I want one. I said, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I said, like, I wholeheartedly recommend it. I said, if you like your Switch, but it was kind of cool. It was like this moment where they were kind of like gobsmacked that somebody was actually buying something. They were kind of like
Mhm.
standing around, like looking at it and playing the demo and talking. And then I roll up and I'm just like, yep, I'm about to spend my grown up money. Like, and
Yep.
they're just like, he's buying Mario Kart World. And it was like, I was like, yeah, I am. Yeah, it was, but it was like, cause but it was like, you could tell, like, it was like one of those things where it's like, the kid was like, well, I'm in college right now. My Switch is at home. I was like, that's probably a good thing. I said,
Right, yeah.
but I said, I like my Switch too. I like it a lot. So, there was just kind of like a funny little moment where I was just like, oh
Yeah,
man, like I remember those days.
right.
Stupid kids. I'm so much better than you. No, but so I went and got Mario Kart World.
Yeah,
And so that's a positive one for the acquisition, and I will play it at some point in time before the end of the year. So I'm just gonna take the positive two just right off the rip. So that puts me
sure.
at
Yeah.
-4,
Okay.
which means I just really need to sort of like crack down and actually start beating some games. We still
Mhm.
have, I got, pretty much all of September, October, November, and December. I've got four
Right,
months. My
right.
goal, my big goal is -10 by the end of the
Nice.
year. So it's just like, I can do that. I have some things like, there's a game that I'm going to try to beat.
Mhm.
I'm going to sort of jump back into it and try to beat it. But I'm pretty much at a point where it's like, if I can't sort of get past the stage that I'm on, I'm kind of at a point where I'm just like ready to like cut ties
Oh,
and send
okay.
it down the road. I like the game. I just think, and I've done some reading, and then like the part where I'm at, they're like, yeah, this is actually a pretty big bottleneck. But
Oh, gotcha.
um, and they're like, yeah, there's basically a difficulty spike, and this part really sucks.
Mm,
And a lot of people are just like, yeah, I almost quit. And I'm just like, I was kind of like, I might just quit. Uh,
yeah.
like, cause I'm not gonna, but anyways, but yeah, that's it, man. I'm at a
Cool.
-4. And for listeners, watchers of, if you're new, if this is your first episode, well, we're glad to have you. But if you're saying that, what's all these numbers and stuff? It's the Backlog Beatdown. It's a meta we run all year long. The point is simply this: we want to encourage you to play the games that you already own, and sort of act as like, it's a system that's basically there to encourage you to do that and to create a little bit of friction in regards to acquisition. So you
Mhm.
buy games, you take positive points. You beat games, you take negative points. And the goal is to get as low a score as possible going into the negative. That's what, it's like you got a big stack of games. You're taking away from that pile. So, anyways,
Yep.
that's it, guys. Other things to sort of think about, if you want to check out the Backlog Beatdown rules, we have those over in our Discord, or you can just
Mhm.
email me or Josh or with the show or whatever, and we can
Yeah.
get you a copy of them. Like, we like it. We think it's fun. Other things that we like and think is fun, and you might like and think is fun, and you might think is worth throwing some money at. It's us. It's this podcast. Like so many other podcasts out there, we have a Patreon. Um, if you like what we're doing here and you want to go a little bit above and beyond, like you've done the sharing and the caring, you've done the rating and reviewing. And if you haven't done those things, please do like, subscribe, tell your friends, leave a review, all those fun things. Those are helpful. But if you've done that and you want to go a little bit above and beyond, we'd recommend, like, we have a Patreon. And it's, in some ways, you can think of it as a glorified tip jar. You can think of it as a way to partner with us as we endeavor to sort of create a resource for the church to talk about and think through video games wisely and well. For as little as $1 a month, you get early and uncut access to each and every episode. There's an exclusive podcast called The Bro Hang that is only for our patrons. You have a little bit more access to Josh and I through the Discord and through the Patreon. And for now, but moving into next year, patrons will have the opportunity to pick or vote on games or topics for us to cover, and have the opportunity to jump on those episodes with us. We talked a little bit about that, but like we've done a few Dishonored, the Talos Principle. Oh, daggone it! What was the one we did? Mist.
Mhm.
There's been a pile
Long Gone
there.
Days.
Long Gone
Yeah.
Days. What was the Viking one?
Oh, the Banner Saga.
Banner
Yes.
Saga. That
Mhm.
so we have those guys on there. Are like, we love those guys, and if you like us, you like this community, and you want to sort of go a little bit above and beyond, that's the place to be. That being said, yeah, the link for that is in the show notes, I'm sure. But
Yes.
hey, in addition to that, we have some friends. They make cool content about other things. Sometimes it's video game related, sometimes it's not. We are proud members of the Playwell Network. And so here's a word from one of them. Go check out their stuff, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hey there, I'm Wes, and I run the Henshin Dad podcast. If you don't know what that is, well, it's a one-man show where I talk about all the things that you need to know about the tokusatsu genre from Japan. If you've seen shows like Power Rangers and Ultraman, then you've seen tokusatsu, and I just happen to think those types of shows are pretty cool. So come on over and take a listen as I discuss all the current and retro happenings in the genre. You can find it over at anchor.fm/HenshinDad. I'll see you there, and don't forget, Henshin a go-go, baby!
And we're back. All right, guys.
Hey.
So tonight, Josh and I, when we started recording, we're like, this one shouldn't be that long, blah, 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 blah. Then, as we are wont to do, we talked for an hour at the front half because we're idiots. Probably
Just have
mostly
lots of experiences to share, man.
It's probably
Whether
mostly
they're video
but we
games
did
or
it
not.
really. That's the worst part. like in theory, I mean, it's always a good conversation, and hopefully like everybody likes it. But it's like, man, we each only had like a couple games, and it's like, anyways, we're just the worst at being good at brevity. We are good at being really bad at it. That's how the thing goes. We're good at being bad at brevity.
It's almost like if this episode were like ascending a tower, then it's almost like you don't know how much farther you have to go until you actually start down a path. You just decide where you're going to go.
Yeah.
Through all the different twists and turns.
And just like the game that we're going to be talking about now, I'm hoping that I die.
Yeah.
A grizzly. I meet a grizzly end after that terrible segue. Just horrendous. Yeah.
So
just the worst. You're so like, we podcast all the time, and you are so bad at this. I'm starting to think it's on purpose. Actually, I'm not starting to think. I've thought that for a while, that you do this that you're just like awful wordplay and really clumsy and awkward segues and But we're going to talk about Slay the Spire. And that is not awful. That's actually pretty stinking awesome. There's not a lot to say about the narrative. I'm sure there's like a story there, but you and I we were sort of talking about it. It's just like, I think the story there doesn't really matter nearly. Like, it helps to like sort of like set up the vibe. It's like sort of like almost like mood narrative, where it's just like, it's sort of like, it helps just like cultivate the atmosphere, but it doesn't really matter. in the
Mhm.
sense that like I don't think the story has anything. Now, full disclosure, I have not gotten the true ending, which we'll talk about that a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is a game that I really love. We were talking about it. It's actually on our top 100 list. It's at 98. Um,
Yeah.
and it was kind of a game that I played after I quit Snap the first time.
Okay.
And then I played that to sort of like shift gears and sort of like, I was like, I really want to play a card based deck building game. And I played this and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And it's so Snap had a brief tenure on the list, and then I think Slay the Spire kind of bumped that because I was like, I
Mhm.
can't play Snap anymore because it's toxic and it's ruined my life. And then I came back to it like a year later because I'm an idiot and I make poor decisions often. Um, but yeah, no, so that was like that's pretty much it. It was like it was a game just sort of offering a little bit of context or baggage. It was a game that years ago a friend of mine had said like he's like, have you checked out Slay the Spire? He's like, I think you'd really like it. And it's sort of like
Ah,
that stuck in my head. And I was like, okay, cool. And then like it either was like a PS Plus game or
okay.
something, or maybe I just bought it on a sale or something. I can't remember how I got it, but I ended up picking it up and it sort of sat on my backlog for years. And then yeah, the like I was like, I want a card-based deck building game, et cetera, et cetera. And I was coming off of dude, even the way I'm talking about Marvel Snap makes it sound like it's an illicit substance. It's not good. It's not ideal. But I was sort of walking. I was walking away from Snap, and I started playing this, and I fell in love with it. I
Mhm.
went down the rabbit hole like super hardcore, and it's like I
Okay.
I sort of no life this game for a while. If I remember correctly, I love this game. I think it's pretty excellent, and I'm glad that you played it so that we can have a little bit of a conversation about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very glad that I played it as well. I will say, in terms of my baggage, what I brought to the game is that I had only ever heard positive things, and especially with you talking about it like you did, it's something that I wanted to play. But yeah, like you, I had heard about it years ago, but so it was kind of you know file that away in the back of my mind, kind of a
Hmm.
thing. So when it made it to the to our top 100 list, I believe that is when I was like, okay, I do need to get around to playing this one. And so lo and behold, after putting it on my locked and loaded list at the beginning of the year, here we are now, 9 months in, and have it beaten.
Yeah,
So, I
yeah.
will say, you started off talking about the narrative of the game, and I think because of I was going to say lack of narratives. That's not necessarily true, but I'd say I think I can speak for both of us when I say we didn't really pay attention to the little bit of narrative that's there. Is
Yeah,
that
I don't know that the narrative is I just don't know that it matters.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it's I don't think that there's much there, to be honest. I think that if there's a story, it's not it's just kind of like really like the loosest of frameworks to kind of it's like you're some sort of wanderer and
Mhm.
you've got to ascend the spire. And
Yep.
that's just like it doesn't say like at this like when you get to there's no like backstory given or anything like that. You just sort of like just throws you into the game and you
Mhm.
start playing it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Because of that, I will say that this episode is going to be mostly spoiler free. I mean, I guess we should have talked about this before we recorded, because the only spoilers I can think of are what you are shown right before the credit roll. Because I didn't get the ultimate ending or whatever, same as
Hmm.
you. Because there are some mysteries and things like that that I think we're
Mhm.
just not going to address on this episode. We're not seeking to be comprehensive with this episode. I think we just want to talk about this game because it's on our top 100 list. And largely that's due to the mechanics. Like we said earlier, this
Yeah.
is a roguelike, roguelike deck building game. So
Yeah.
card game.
It's roguelike, whatever. Like
Right. I don't
tier
remember the
K.
specific. Yeah. You
It's
don't carry much over at all from runs. You do it gives you points that you can unlock a few new cards after a certain amount of
yeah.
runs, but that's about it. Other than that, it is
Yeah.
it is RNG with cards that you
There's
could
no like
add to your
leveling
deck.
up or
Right.
carrying really much forward. It's kind of like yeah, it's so I don't know which one that makes this, but it's a
Mhm.
roguelite. It's a roguish thing.
Yes, yes, exactly. It is similar to the game Rogue in that sense. So I think now that we've kind of explained what Slay the Spire is and our impressions of the game, kind of what we came to it with, again, just to reiterate, I don't really think there's going to be much to spoil. So from there, why is this game on our top 100 list, Nate? Because you put it there before I had even played it.
Um it's here because it's simply put, I'm closing a window here. It is one of the best deck building games I've ever played. And I
Mm,
think that
okay.
it's kind of like one of those things where it's it's a sort of a blending because like it's so any deck builder is it's sort of like I think there are a particular subset of people who are especially drawn to those. And it's because like a good deck building game is kind of like building a Rube Goldberg machine, where it's
Okay.
like it's about putting these pieces together and sort of hoping that you get sort of all the stuff to sort of line up a certain way so that you can sort of do the thing, right? And this game sort of each so there's four characters. There's three characters. The first one you start out as the Ironclad. What's the second one? I just closed that window like all the way down.
Was it like the messenger or something like that? I don't remember.
What's
Poison.
it's
Um,
yeah, the poison person. And then there's the defect, and then there's I want to say the monk. I don't know. But like I think the monk is like a DLC character. And I think if you buy the game now, there's a version. So it's the Ironclad, the Silent, the Defect, and the Watcher. Those are the four characters. And each one of them have sort of a different um like skill set, and their cards work a little bit differently. So the Ironclad is sort of your sort of more like standard fare warrior. Um and he has like a different resource than the I'm looking at the wiki here. Holy crap. Can you throw any more ads and junk on this? Dude,
what?
Slay the Spire fandom wiki, figure it out, man. That's trash. Um he's okay, so like the wiki here says the Ironclad is one of four playable characters in Slay the Spire. He wields an arsenal of powerful strikes, boasts formidable defensive options, draws fiendish strength from his demonic benefactors to empower himself in various ways. He starts out with 80 HP, highest of the playable characters, and can manipulate exhaust. His starting relic is Burning Blood, which heals 6 HP after combat. Um, so like, and they're kind of like one of these things where it's like each one of them has a sort of a gimmick to each deck, and each deck feels very different. Like
Hmm.
the Ironclad tends to be a little more straightforward, and there's sort of like a like almost like a give and take. Like sometimes I feel like you sacrifice life to sort of do more damage or stuff like that, and like
Yep.
it does play with like he does have a few skills that manipulate exhaust, which is a state that you can enter into with whatever. Um, the silent is more about like kind of so and it's hard to explain like unless I'm like playing this and sort of talking about it. It's kind of hard to explain this all in theory.
Mhm.
But like the Ironclad, there's like you have a certain amount of like cards that you can play every turn, and you can and the game will telegraph and said like it'll let you know how much like what the enemy is going to do and how much damage they're going to do, and you
Right.
can prepare appropriately. So like you can, depending on the hand that you draw, you might be able to play some defensive cards and mitigate that damage. Or you might have some skills to what to sort of attack. Maybe you'll be able to attack them before they get their turn off or whatever. So there's kind of like there's the give and take there. And it's like
Mhm.
I think it's like you can only play 3 or 4 cards per turn. And then sort of it's man, it's been a while since I played it. I should have played it today before we recorded just to sort of freshen up.
Well,
But you've played a little more recently, so you run me through the Ironclad.
right. So, I mean, in a nutshell, the Ironclad is the one that hits strong, and is able to
Yeah.
heal at the end of every battle. So that plays into what cards you want to be pulling into your deck, knowing that you have a reliable way to heal yourself, which other characters don't have.
That's if you
And
keep his base relic because
right,
the relics do
yes.
you can get different relics and they affect things. They can change gameplay as well.
And that's the RNG part of this game, is that each run is going to be different,
Mhm.
because after a battle, you have a choice of adding an extra card to your deck, and you generally are able to pick from 3 randomly generated cards, and you pick one of those to add to your deck. And
Mhm.
so your deck gets bigger as you continue on to slay the spire and fight different enemies. You get different relics which do different things that change the way that you play the game. And
Mhm.
so I'd say by and large, this game actually reminds me out of any other game that I've played, it reminds me the most of Hades, because of
Mm.
the RNG for the different skills that you have throughout
Yeah.
that game, and the way that they play off each other. And when you start to understand, okay, if I start going down this route, then I should specialize in these different kinds of cards. If these are some of the cards that I'm
Mhm.
pulling, then I'll build out this way. Um, and that really helps as you continue on in the game.
But one of the things to sort of keep in mind though too is like okay, so you have a deck and you're sort of like this is the theme of my deck. Like maybe it's just sort of like I don't know. It's yeah, I kind of put the cart before the horse because I started talking about the Ironclad
Mhm.
in each one of them, and I do want to talk a little bit about like the differences between each character,
Okay.
right? Um, but it is like it's sort of a turn-based RPG, and you get a certain amount of actions. I think you can actually change that with a relic. Like I think
Mhm.
like you have like a limited resource amount of resources
Mhm.
per character that determines how many cards you can play. And so like once you do that, that ends the turn and your hand goes away and all that stuff. But there is that roguelike thing, but there's also sort of like there's consumable items. So like
Right.
you can there's like a vendor or sometimes during combat, like after combat, you'll get like a potion or something.
Yep.
And that might you might be able to use that to heal. You might be able to use that to inflict a status effect.
Mhm.
Um, so there's stuff like that. It is a turn-based RPG that has heavy deck building elements, right? Part of the problem though is like you were talking, so that's like you get cards, and so maybe you have a theme that your deck is, but like what actually is sort of really interesting is when you can start getting rid of cards. And so you can
Right.
really tighten your deck up. And sometimes like you'll get to get to a place. It's like I remember the first couple times I played it, right? And it was like anytime I got a chance to add in a card to the deck, you just did that. And sometimes that works.
Right.
Like if you just get a whole bunch of like the same like 2 or 3 things, but after a while your deck starts getting kind of big and unwieldy. And
Mhm.
it's like, and so maybe part of the strategy is actually saying like, hey, I don't need any of these cards. I'm not going to take any of them. And so I'm actually just going to like skip that altogether, because
Yeah.
all that's going to do is that's actually going to dilute the pool of cards that I need to actually do the thing. And so there is also that weighing it at times. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then there's like these, what's the type of, is it artifact cards that you can do that sort of give like crazy, like there's like sometimes you can use them like once per game and they give you like some like sort of like crazy effect.
Are you thinking of the colorless cards
Oh
that
yeah,
are?
the colorless cards.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they have like these like pretty wild effects. Like sometimes they're like, sometimes it'll give you extra resources per turn,
Right.
or
Yep.
it'll be like every time you use this type of card, it doubles the damage or something.
Yep.
Something crazy, you
Or
know.
it
It's like,
upgrades all the cards in your deck,
yeah,
so that they either do more damage or take less resources to play or things like that.
yeah.
Yeah. And I don't believe right off the bat that any of the characters have a limit to the amount of cards that you can play. Each turn, it's simply the amount of resources that you have.
That's the resource. It's yeah. It's not the cards. It's the resource.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Though I have
So.
gotten relics, which usually have some really huge effects. I've gotten some relics that do limit the amount of cards that you can play, but they give
Mhm.
you other benefit. They'll give you more resources, but now you can only play 5 cards per turn, something like that. Um, which, depending on your character, so Ironclad, if that's your standard warrior, hits big kind of character, then the next character, what did you say it was? The listener?
The silent
Silent. Okay.
is like kind of an assassin poisoner type
Yes.
of character.
And when I finished the game with her run, I mean, I was constantly, because you get 5 cards at the start of your turn, constantly getting up to like 10, 12 cards at a time, and
In a hand.
bonus resources, and then using them, and then using a card to discard all those cards and redraw new cards. And then, because of all these cards constantly coming in and out of my hands, it was giving me bonuses and weakening the enemy, and things like that. Like you
Mhm.
were talking about these Rube Goldberg machines that you're
Mhm.
setting up, so that maybe it's not even the specific effect of the card that you're using, but the fact that you're shuffling it in and out of your hand and back into your deck, into your discard pile, can actually benefit you overall. So it's a little bit more meta than the card itself. So there's all kinds of crazy effects that you can have with the interplay of the relics that stay equipped to your character versus the cards that you're adding and taking away from the deck that you have. And then, like you mentioned, these potions as well that you can have throughout the game. But yeah, I'll say that's what really hooked me, is when it started clicking. That, again,
Mhm.
in my mind, this is more similar to Hades than something, because that's how Hades feels to me, is like when you get that first pool of, and it's been a while since I played Hades, so I don't remember exactly how,
Mhm.
but the blessings that you get from the different mythological gods.
And you get
Um,
that first like really like kind of cracked combo
yes.
where you're like, "Oh.
Yeah, and if I
Oh."
keep going down this route, yeah, and then if my attacks can bounce around after I throw them, and then I can do this move, then that works really well. And yeah, and that's how it felt with this game, because again, you don't carry over things from run to run in
No.
this game, and so you just have to learn how to use what you have available to you. And I think especially that's with the relics, the things that you
And
get for
each
your character.
character has like a starting deck.
Right.
And so it's like you have
And
like
it's
a
usually
pretty,
pretty simple.
yeah, pretty basic, pretty whatever. And it might have like a few like special moves or something in it.
Mhm.
But for the most part, it's just like pretty basic attacks. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
For the Ironclad, I'll give you just an example really quickly. For the
mhm.
Ironclad, there was a card that once I got it in my deck, At first though, I was kind of like, okay, is this really going to be that powerful? But once you start using it, it just like every time I saw it, I would grab it, and it's called Demon Form. And what this card does is it uses up all your resources. You typically have 3 energy at the start of your turn. It costs 3 energy in order to use it. But what it does is it increases your strength by 2 at the start of every turn, which means that every attack that you make will do 2 extra damage, but that is cumulative. So you will have 2 strength at the start of your first turn, and then 4 strength at the start of your next turn, and then 6 strength at the start of your next turn. So if you are fighting a boss and you have in turns are just racking up on both sides, then your character is constantly getting stronger. However, it does limit you, because in order to play this card, that means you're not playing any other card from your hand, because it essentially uses up all your resources to play the card initially, which means you're opening yourself up for attack. But again, if you're thinking, okay, a boss is going to get stronger as I continue to fight, then okay, maybe it makes sense to use it now, or instead of waiting until the next time it comes around in my deck. Things like that. But Demon Form was one that was really powerful, at least for me when I first got it. And that's when it's like, okay, I could build a strategy around getting stronger with something like this. And then especially after you upgrade it, and I don't remember if it made you even stronger or if it just took less resources to play. But
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the cards now, and so it's
mhm.
like it's as I'm looking at the cards and seeing them, like it's like there's the block resource, which sort of it does like if you have 10 block, you can block up to 10 damage.
Right.
Um, there's like and there's like different card types. I'm just kind of like yeah. He also does like the wounds. He like shuffles wounds into his card and or into his deck for certain abilities. And I think there's something in there that you can use those wounds to do something. There's a part of that, but yeah, it's kind of like but there's just a whole lot in there where it's like, and the Ironclad does tend to be a little more straightforward, where it's
Mhm.
just like he hits hard, and so a lot of the synergies and the strategies of his deck, it's either you sort of maybe lean a little bit more into like the defensive thing so that you can sort of like basically face tank
Mhm.
bosses, or yeah, or it could be like, or his the strategies for the Ironclad seem to be the most straightforward, whereas
Yeah.
like the Silent doesn't use it's still it's functionally the same thing, but they use like dodges and stuff like that. So it's like
Mhm.
like so it's like you might play a card called dodge that adds a certain amount of um
Block.
block.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's just kind of looking through here. It's but and then the silent the difference, like the I really liked the silent. I played I think a lot of
Mhm.
probably the most of the silent. I don't know, I played a lot of the defect too. I like the defect too because did you get a chance to
Okay.
play any of the defect?
I played, I think, 2 runs with the defect, and I was just like, "Whoa, this is so different. This
It's
is
because
odd."
it's about juggling like the orbs and
Yep.
sort of like if you depending on what your orb layout is, it generates different passives.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did I did like that.
Okay. Okay.
That one gets like really kind of like into the weeds because it's almost
Mhm.
more about sort of generating like yeah, it's about sort of like, okay, you play these cards not because their effects are really strong, but because when you're holding on to those like the passives that those things generate,
Mhm.
because like I think you can generate extra resources, you can generate health back,
Okay.
you can do all sorts of like kind of crazy stuff with that. So I remember, but it's like it's all about like basically like each one of these decks has it's almost like the mechanics are completely reinvented while it's the same framework every single
Mhm.
time. It's the same basic. It's like you attack, you provide block, and then but it's like but there's also like all these combos and kind of weird stuff like it's like you were saying with a silent, there's a lot of like you discard stuff, but that's actually gives you an advantage, on the next turn or maybe
Hmm.
even that turn, and kind of like, and it might empower an attack, and it's kind of like, but it helps you cycle through that deck to get the pieces that you need to sort of like combo up. And like the poison is like, you apply poison, and it might not be like with the ironclad where it's just like you're hitting them, but it procs basically a damage over time. So
Right.
like every turn or every attack, like the enemy takes, and you can like stack that multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of hitting for straight up 9, like the ironclad would, you do poison damage that does 4 damage every turn, you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah, and you
and
can stack that so that it lasts like more turns, or like it might hit several times. Like you can stack status effects to a certain point. Like there's
Mhm.
there's all sorts of like, it's kind of hard to talk about in the sense, like, without like actually like, it'd be like one of those things where it's like I almost wish we were like playing the game and sort of talking about like this would
Sure.
be
Yeah.
an episode where if like we streamed games, this would be a great one to stream, because it's
Yeah.
like we could talk about like all the, but it's all in this, and it's like it's one of those things that, again, there's this sort of like very sort of simple and elegant system,
Mhm.
and because it's so sort of concrete, but then there are enough different pieces where it's like, and again, the RNG element too is like you were talking about, like you're going to get different cards every time, and so it's like you're not going to be able to just be like, oh, this is what my ironclad deck is going to look like every single time, because like,
Right.
what if you don't get demon form? Do you start out with demon form?
No, no, it's
Okay.
one you have to pick up.
So, like, let's just say, like, you go through several encounters, demon form doesn't show up. So,
Mhm.
okay, like this strategy is no longer viable for me. I
Yep.
need to maybe like look at like maybe being a little more defensive in my orientation, and maybe just like we'll sort of go after like ghost armors or whatever, ghost
Mhm.
armors, like, or ghostly armor or ethereal armor or whatever it was called. And it's just like there's this kind of, it's just a really clever game, and I
Yeah.
don't know what to, I just, the thing about it is that unless you're playing it, like I can talk about like the mechanical excellence of this game, and it's one of those things where the combat scenarios are really pretty snappy. Like
Yeah.
occasionally, like the bosses go a little long, where it's like
Sure.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe a boss fight takes 10-15 minutes maybe, but
Mhm.
that feels at the long end, and that one's like that one you're kind of like white knuckling it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well, and you say that, I felt as though, and I certainly did not put as much time into this as you did. I felt like I was on the razor's edge throughout most of my
most of the
playthroughs.
game. Yeah.
I mean, when I was very surprised when I actually ended up beating it with the second character, because at the end of the first act, I don't remember what they're called, how they differentiate it, but basically there's 3 large rooms that you are ascending. At the end of the first room, I'm like, "Oh, I'm probably not gonna make it much farther." But I just kept going and kept going and kept going, and
Yeah.
felt like I was gonna die multiple times because you don't restore HP like you do with the first character. But I ended up actually beating the game with that second character,
Hmm.
on that run. So you're kind of always
The
skating on
game's,
the edge.
well, and it's that roguelike energy where it is really tough.
Yeah.
Like, it is not uncommon to just like, if you've got kind of like, you can die to just like normal enemies.
Mhm.
And there's this, but what's also kind of interesting about this game is like there is a map where it reminds me a lot of what is that weird game that I played? We've talked about it a little bit. Oh,
What type of
daggone it!
game is it?
It starts out. It's another deck builder, but it's like one
Okay.
that gets like third. It breaks the fourth wall a little bit.
Oh, with the totem heads and whatnot.
Yeah, um I'm googling things, or I'm binging things actually.
Ah, There you go.
I'm trying to think. Slay the Spire, Dominion, Hearthstone,
Inscription.
Inscription. So there's kind of like in Inscription, there's like kind of a map that your character like progresses up, and you choose between
Okay.
different encounters. That actually that part of Inscription and Slay the Spire are really similar.
Okay.
Actually, there's a lot of parallels there between Slay the Spire and Inscription. It's just as far as like gameplay. Both of them are,
Mhm.
but I think the actual the gameplay construction is a lot more. An Inscription kind of does some other stuff altogether
Yeah.
because there's like another kind of. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it is getting late. There's like another sort of like thing with the words, Nate. They're not that hard. They're a little hard, but they're not that hard. It does like a whole thing with the
Obviously, the fourth wall breaking, but I don't know your characters or
oh
just
well
from the little that I know
no
about
with
this game.
Inscription does this. Okay, so there's like the map thing and the card playing thing, but
Right.
there's also like you can get up from the table and walk around this little cabin.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
sort of like there's some stuff there that you can kind of that you can do. So
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, there's a whole nother like wrinkle to Inscription that's like there's kind of multiple layers of that game, where Slay the Spire is just like simply this. It's just you start, you kind of navigate the map, and it's you sort of like pick like different nodes to sort of like go through, and some of them might be like harder boss, like almost like mini bosses.
Right.
Some of them might be like running across the merchant or whatever, and there's even sort of like there's like little rest spots where sometimes, and it's like it does force this choice too, like when you get to like the little campfires, right? It's like, hey, you can rest, but if you do that, like there's like 2 or 3 other things that you can do.
Yeah, you can upgrade a
And
card. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like you can pick one of these things, and so if you rest, you'll restore some health, but you can't upgrade any cards, and you can't do that. And that actually becomes pretty, because that's the other thing, is like you can, in your deck, it's like you've got like the base card, but you can upgrade them like I think it's 2 or 3 times, and it's like you said, it does the like it reduces the resource cost, or and it probably ups the damage or like, so if it gives block, maybe it blocks more or whatever. But like, and there's different levels, and so that's a way that you get like kind of more powerful. So it's like there is this like, hey, do I need the rest, or do I need to upgrade this card so that I can like sort of press on a little bit more? Sometimes there's a perk that you can take, I think somewhere, where it's like every time you rested a fire, you can, it gives you like, I think there's like baseline 3 choices, and then there's something you can do something. Excuse me, I'm starting to dry out a little bit, but where it's like you get a 4th one where it's like you can sort of like get some sort of, I don't know, there's all sorts of like weird stuff that you can do. There's like little encounters that aren't even combat based, right? It's like you walk up to like a disheveled temple and you notice like a little golden idol. It's like you can put it back or you can take it, and there's consequences based on what you decide there. You might take damage, you might take a curse, you might take whatever. There's all these like weird little things. It's like the core loop is this card game, right? But then there's all sorts of other sort of like narrative beats, and again, it's like the actual story doesn't really matter. It's just more about the vibes.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And the vibes, I would say, are similar. I mean, it's dark, I would say, because you're at the bottom of this tower and, you know, you're fighting to get to the top. It's dark in that sense, but it's almost like a, have you ever played the game Munchkin? Munchkin is very comedic.
I know what it is.
Okay. Yeah. But it's a similar idea of like, okay, just go into the next room and fight a monster. Okay, now go into the next room and fight a monster. Okay, now go to the, you know, the fire and rest or something like that. Upgrade a card. Yeah, there's not a story stringing together the different pieces, the different steps that you're taking. But there's, a little bit at the very end of the game. You're being revived, at the start of every run. So there's something there in terms of story, but frankly, I did not know what was going on during my playthrough. Apparently, you have to beat the game with the first 3 characters, and then you unlock what can lead to the true ending. I did
Mm-hmm.
not get that far. I only beat the game with the first 2 characters. And again, really enjoyed it. But yeah, I think it's a solid game, and it definitely got its hooks in me in the sense that, okay, I can play around in the sandbox. It gives you enough of a base that you understand who your character is or what type of character it is. But it gives you enough freedom and enough kind of randomly generated elements so that each run feels different, but kind of what you're leaning towards in the cards that you pick, in the relics
Yeah.
that you're trying to get, in the routes that you're going. So it gives you just enough agency that you feel like you're making a difference, while also it's randomly generated what might actually happen and come
And
up.
I think too, like the thing is like, it's like you were saying, like when you beat it with the silence, right?
Mhm.
It's like the whole time you kind of felt like you were just riding the razor's edge. I think
Yeah.
the game's hard. It is hard, but it's not like that twitchy hard. It's more of
Mhm.
just like, it kind of like, it's always pressing you, and
Mhm.
it kind of like always feels like, and it's, but it sort of rides that just enough. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Where it's
Yep.
like, it's tough, but it's like, it is doable. And there's
Mhm.
kind of like, it's very similar to like the kind of like the feeling, like when you get a really good run,
Mhm.
it's akin to the feeling that you get like when you beat, like, or like when you sort of like do sort of like squeeze out the victory over a boss, and it's like, it's kind of like, it's almost like that Dark Souls moment where it's like, yes, I'm a
Mhm.
master of all I survey. Like,
Yeah.
and it kind of like does this really great job of sort of like, the highs and lows in that game are really pretty fantastic,
Mhm.
like pretty phenomenal. I just think it's like, it's one of those things where the beauty is like, it has these sort of like fixed rule sets, but there's a variety of expressions within each character in each deck,
Mhm.
right? And it's like, and it's all made up of like the same 25, 30 cards, right? Or
Right.
however many it is per character total. And I just think that it's such a well balanced and well crafted game. And I know like
Mhm.
that the level of thoughtfulness. And I know that it's like a game that I think it was in early access and it's been tweaked and all this other stuff,
Okay.
but it's like,
Okay.
it's so sort of like it's put together so well. It feels balanced. Like so many times,
Yeah.
like we were talking a little bit about Marvel Snap, and I don't want to go into it too much, but like it's like that game changes on a dime, right? And it's like
Mhm.
it can be a little hard to keep up with Slay the Spire. It's like you're gonna get the same cards. Like if you get this card, it's gonna be this card all the time. The stat lines are fixed, the effect is fixed. Now you can improve that and everything else. So there is sort of like, you can know that game on a much more granular level. Where with
Mhm.
something like the meta in Marvel Snap changes so quickly, and the power creep is just like, it just
Yeah.
keeps escalating and escalating and escalating. And it's like, whereas Slay the Spire, there's sort of a simplicity in there, and just says like, no, the stuff that we have, this is like what you have, and it's about making it work within that, so
Mhm.
that the and there isn't this need to sort of like keep sort of like upping the stakes every single time.
Mhm.
um as far as like, there's no new cards being added, so it's just, it it encourages a robust sort of like exploration of the game and its mechanics.
Yeah, and how the different pieces fit together each
Yeah.
time you go on a run. Because I mean, like you were describing, the first time I finished a run, which I was really surprised at how quickly I was able to beat the game.
Hmm.
It was maybe my 4th run, I think.
Mhm.
is when I beat the game the first time, and it felt great. But then I go to YouTube, and there are people who've played this game for thousands of hours. Now, I'm not one to play any video game for thousands of hours. Even hundreds of hours is very like that.
Mhm.
Hardly anything. But the reason that that is the case is because, yeah, I mean, you can ramp up the difficulty, and make
Mhm.
things, do
Yeah.
different things, again, similar to Hades. But they know this game so well. They know the possible cards that you can get for each character. They know all the relics, and so they're going for, it's almost like speedrunners, the way that they play
Mhm.
certain video games. Um,
They're sort of
but
going for that perfect run.
Exactly, and that just
Mhm.
blew me away because, like, one, that's just not how I play video games, like I
No.
said, but, I got this little taste by actually, beating the game with the first character, and it's like, "Oh, this thing goes really deep if you want to. If you
Mhm.
really wanna get that
Well, and
good."
that's kind of like that's the thing that I love about deck building games,
Mhm.
because it's like if you want to go hard, there's a lot of stuff to like play around with, like with
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, like whether it's Magic the Gathering, Marvel Snap, like Slay the Spire, Balatro, Inscription, like there is something immensely satisfying about like putting together this perfect little machine
Mhm.
and just having it sort of like, but then there's also, and this is kind of like one of the, it's like it's also, it can be absolutely infuriating, and I think like Slay the Spire kind of leans into this, but it's like there's the chance that you might not draw any of the cards that you need to,
Right.
and then you're
Right.
like, you're shaking your fist at it and like,
Yep.
F you, just
Yeah. Yeah,
kind of
sometimes you
like,
just straight up get a bad draw. I mean, I had, well, I was going to say so many times. That's not true. But especially during those times where it feels like you're on the razor's edge, and then you
mm-hmm,
draw, and maybe the enemy for this turn has built up their defense, to something like 20, and you
mm-hmm,
draw, and 4 out of your 5 cards are cards that add to your own block. And it's like, he's not even attacking me this turn, and all that I got were cards to block. Like, what a
mm-hmm,
stinking waste. Yeah. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it's a ton of fun. It's also just
Mhm.
infuriating at times. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like I just love deck building games, and I think Slay the Spire is probably just one of the better ones that I've ever played.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
like you told me there's like a physical version of this, and it's like I'm almost tempted to get that because I think that would
Yeah.
just be like a ton of fun. It's also, but it's also kind of like, why would I do that when I have when I already
Yeah,
own it?
exactly. It sounds like
Um,
it might be a bit of a nightmare to kind of set up and tear down and stuff like that. Whereas,
yeah,
like,
it's
I
like,
kind of like that the computer does all the back end stuff for me.
yeah, dude, like that's the really sick part is like, yeah, you could feasibly do this with like dice and cardboard and all that other stuff, but then like, or you just like the computer, like the console does it for you, and
Yeah. It'll
it's
keep
like
track of what my relics do. I don't have to constantly be looking
I
at
don't
them all
have
the
to
time.
factor that in, and
Yeah.
I just it's like I think the thing is like this is just one of those games where like, yeah, narratively there isn't, I don't think I think it's like an inch deep kind of thing where like there
Yeah.
might be something profound that they're trying to say, but I don't buy it. I think it's just a game where it's like the excellence is in the construction,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like the part that I'm like, dude, like sometimes the thing that makes it worthwhile isn't like what it has to say, but actually what it does.
Mhm.
Where it's just like, hey, like look at this, like look at this really like masterful execution.
Yeah.
And that's why I love Slay the Spire. Like that, like I'm a mechanics guy in a
Mhm.
sense. Like like a good mechanic is going to a good game mechanic is going to draw me in. Is going to like obviously like I want some story, but like you can have a great story, and if it's bad mechanics, I might push through,
Mhm.
right? But if you've got great mechanics and a sort of a mid story, I'm probably going to play that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because like that's just kind of me. That's how I'm wired.
Yeah,
You know, it's like if you've got a good system, like I'm gonna be in, like I'm in, you know,
yeah,
and so
for sure.
I don't know, yeah, it's
And, well, and I'd say that I think that's also why it's on our top 100 list and why it's
mm-hmm,
also on the lower end, because I think it does this one thing when it comes to one thing, the deck building thing,
mm-hmm.
that it does. And really, I feel like I'm doing a disservice when I say one thing because there's so many different pieces that play together. And that's what's so fun about it to me, is getting all the different relics and having them all pop at different times and
Oh, dude,
being
yeah.
becoming more powerful than you even expected that you would be.
Dude, like
Like,
when you get like that perfect line where it's like all the pieces, like you just kind of like set up the dominoes and then you go, and it's just like you watch all the things sort of like, it's like, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this. There's like, and we didn't even talk about, we mentioned them, but like the colorless cards, which are sort
mhm,
of, they're cards that some of them do like really crazy things. Like you said, it's like you get it and it upgrades every card in your deck, or like
mhm,
it'll upgrade like cards in your hand or something like that. Or there's one, I think that it's like, I can't remember, it's like sort of like a basic skill, but it's like every time you do something you can basically pull that out of your discard pile or your exhaust pile and put it back into your hand.
mhm,
Like, and it was like stuff like that where he's like, hey, if you use like the cool synergies where it's like it costs nothing or whatever, and it's sort of like the bouncing cards in and out, and it's like, yeah, that's like, that's so much fun. It's
yeah,
just like, and how like it's like, oh, like the different, like I don't know, yeah,
yeah,
it's just, it's awesome, it's so much fun. So you mentioned that it's on our list, and currently,
mhm,
like I think I said at the top, it's number 98 on the list right now.
yep,
So this, I think, begs the question though, that now that you've played it, okay,
mhm,
I think, and we don't have to like hammer this out tonight, but I'm just kind of curious. And it's like,
mhm.
I don't know that I have much of an opinion or a horse in this fight right now, but like, is
I didn't know
98
horses
really,
fought.
well, a horse in this race,
Race,
a
yeah.
dog in
Mhm.
this fight? Oh
There you
geez.
go. Yeah.
Sh- Shut up, Nate. You're an idiot. I
But
yeah.
I get what you're trying to say. It's a and in terms of, like, do I think it deserves a spot on the top 100? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a really good, like, I expected to like this game. I liked it more
Then you
than
thought you
I
would.
yes, yeah, and almost immediately too. The
Mm-hmm.
first run, it's a little tenuous because 'cause you're not sure what's going on. The second run, it's like, "Okay, I get it." But then as you progress further, that's when you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, these pieces fit together. Like, okay, this is kind of crazy. Again, similar. I know I've said it multiple times here, but Hades, where like, yeah, the basic fighting mechanics you're getting down, your basic attacks you're getting down, but after a while, it's all about those upgrades and what upgrade path you're going to choose, and that makes a huge difference to it. And so I feel like this game is like that with its relics in addition to how it plays with the
Yeah.
different cards in your deck. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I think it does. I really like what it does. So yeah, I think for the most part, I'm happy to have it on the list. Um, I'd say maybe 98's maybe a little low, but
Mm-hmm.
within that bottom quarter, I would be fine with it there. Um, yeah, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, because it doesn't really have any story, which is okay, but the mechanics I think are just so solid that I would recommend this game to just about anyone, unless you don't like the dungeony aesthetics of the game,
Mm-hmm.
because it does
Yeah.
feel a little, like I said, just
Grim,
kind of dark. Yeah,
grim dark. Yeah. Yeah. I
it's
mean,
it's a little playful with that, but even then, it's kind of grimy with it,
it's
you know?
very like sort of like Cthulhu esque, like that sort of Lovecraftian adjacent kind of like, there's like some sort of weird cosmic horror kind of thing going on. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like there's
yeah.
something.
Well,
Um,
case in point, like demon form, like, okay, the Ironclad is not a good, your typical good character. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Anti-hero.
none of your protagonists are, with maybe the exception of the Watcher, um,
Okay.
are really seem all that benevolent.
Right.
Like the
Right.
Ironclad is well, and it's like even the description, it's like a demon, you know, kind of. It's like a
Pact.
basically, it has a pact with a demon that it
Yeah.
draws strength from. The
Mhm.
the Silence is a poisoner assassin kind of character. The Defect is actually that you will fight enemies that look like the Defect,
Okay.
but he's not one of them because
Defective.
he's defective.
Yeah.
Um, and the Watcher is, sort of, the Watcher is like kind of a monk. She does, I
Okay.
think it's that she does like different stances and has like different abilities. That one's pretty. That one I probably played. I mean, I played a good bit of Ironclad, but I think like man, I'm trying to think which one I played the most of. It's either Silence or Defect,
Okay.
but I did
Okay.
play a good bit with the Watcher, and it's in order to get the true ending. I'm pretty sure you have to do a run with the Watcher. You have to get the 3 pieces, and you have to beat, because like there's technically like to
Okay.
beat the game, there's only
Mhm.
3 acts, but
Right.
there is a 4th act that, or a 4th level to the
Right.
tower or the
Right.
spire that you can sort of get into. But there's these 3 like keys, like these 3 pieces of what, and it's like I think you can get one in like at a rest site or whatever. It's like
Okay.
basically
Okay.
there's only option, like the only time you can, like, you'll be given the opportunity to acquire a piece once per chapter. And if you
Okay.
pass it, if you pass on it, that's it. They're done. Like,
Mhm.
and so you have to get those 3 pieces, and then you beat the final boss, but it turns out there's a door, and you play that and you get further. I've never gotten the
Yep.
true ending. I actually made a run at it and got really far, and then got like, it was like I think I got to the final boss, and then I
Mhm.
got clobbered.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes you just get the right cards,
Yeah.
and then it just like, then the deck just like kind of like takes off. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, I guess it's one of those things like, it's at 98, and I was kind of looking at the list, and I don't want to beat it up too much, but it's like, I'm looking at our list that like at 94 you have Faith the Unholy Trinity, and I'm looking at that and I'm
Mm.
saying I would go higher than that. I mean, frankly, at 86 I've got Katamari Damacy, and I love Katamari Damacy. I'm like, I would go higher than that. I would
Okay.
probably go higher than, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but it's like 80 is Astral Chain, a game that we're going to be talking about and doing an episode on here shortly. And I'm like, I would probably, Astral Chain actually feels kind of similar in that like the story in Astral Chain, like there's a story, but it's like more about the action for me. Now that could
Okay.
change. So, but it's like, I don't know. I'm just saying, it's like, I'm kind of looking at that, and I think there's room for Slay the Spire to move up. Um,
Sure.
but we can save that for the end of the year.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I
But I
do
think,
think there's room for it.
yeah. Yeah. And I think so that kind of goes without saying. I think I can speak for both of us when we say that we do recommend this game.
Oh, there's
Oh, that's right. And I had mentioned that earlier, is the only thing that I can think of that, someone wouldn't want to at least even just try this game, because it is a different genre. Not everyone's going to
Mhm.
resonate with the genre of deck builders. But I think it eases you in really well, actually, to at least try it. So I would recommend this game unless you just don't like dungeon
Fun.
aesthetics. Well,
If you
I'm
don't
just
like
saying, like, the
fun, don't
dark.
play the game. Like if you
That's
don't like
true.
awesome
That's
stuff,
true. If you really don't like fun, then I would not recommend most video games to you.
yeah. If you don't like awesome things, Like, don't play this. No, yeah, it is like that sort of like that aesthetic, that vibe is like not for everybody.
Yeah.
And like deck builders aren't for everybody.
Right.
Like they tend to be like a little
If you can't
cerebral.
read, probably
If
don't
you're
want to play this
illiterate,
game.
you're gonna struggle there. If like if I put you in a wet paper sack and you would have problems thinking your way out of it,
Hmm.
probably shouldn't play that. Um, it's one of those things where
I would not recommend video games.
I,
Yeah.
I was just not, like, dude, like if you can't think your way out of a wet paper sack, I don't know where I heard that. That feels like an army thing.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So we do recommend Slay the Spire. I'm trying to think if there's really anything else to say. I know the second one is coming out imminently,
yeah,
or at
I'm
least,
excited.
or is it just early access that it's coming to?
I think it's just coming out early access.
Okay. Okay. So there's more of it coming out. So maybe that one will be even better than this one, and this whole conversation was for not. But as of right now, yeah,
yeah,
both
it's
think it's a
not
great
yet
game.
available on Steam. Planned release date is I'll tell you what, I'm looking at Slay the Spire 2. So the one thing is that Slay the Spire, we talked about a little bit, like the visuals
Mhm.
feels like a little kind of like they're not bad, but they're not really like they're kind of like weird. There's like some weird animation stuff. I'm just looking at Slay the Spire 2 and um some of the anime it looks like it's going to add some new characters. But it also looks like it's going to like it just looks like a lot like the animation and visual quality looks like it's a bit of a step up in Slay the Spire
Okay,
2.
great.
So, because like
Great.
I don't think Slay the Spire is really what I would call a pretty game.
No,
Like it's like, and
it's
it's not
fine.
just from a design point where it's like, oh, like the models are kind of like grody looking or whatever. It's like even just like the actual like way that the game is kind of put together and animated feels like a little like, yeah, like
Yeah.
it's it's good, it's fine,
Yeah.
but it's like it's not awesome. It's not going to blow your socks. And it looks like Slay the Spire is like the animation's a lot cleaner, and the character designs sort of are a little more polished, and I like that. I
Cool.
like that.
Cool.
So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
I like this game. It's like one of my like it's a game that very much you get kind of got to be careful. I think for people who get into deck builders, like if you've played Balatro is another one where it's like I could just like sometimes I'll turn that on. I'll be like, I'm gonna play a couple hands or I'm gonna do a run. And it's the next thing you know, it's like 3 hours later and you're like, crap.
Yeah.
Like so but yeah, I think Slay the Spire is great. I love it. I'm glad that you had a chance to like run through it a few times too. Like
Yeah.
it's
I had a
like
good time with it.
I would say like play around with like I don't want to pull you away from Expedition 33,
Mhm.
but play around with the defect, because the defect, like you can do this thing where it's like there's like the passives and the evocation and everything else, and it's there's a lot more of sort of balancing like short-term gain versus long-term gain,
Right.
where it's like you're kind of like doing this thing where it's like you're juggling things, and it's like, yeah, I love that. I love that game. I love the game. No, it's just like I need to go to bed, but I'm even thinking like maybe I should just
Play
fire up
another run.
Slade.
Oh, dude, yeah. 3 hours later.
I've got to
Maybe
watch
not
my
a good
son
idea.
tomorrow too because he's staying home from
Yeah.
daycare. So it's like, but yeah, I think it's a great game, and
Yep.
I'm glad you played it. I think like yeah, we should probably talk about its placement at the end of the year, but and
Sweet.
I'll make a notation of that on our document to just like
Awesome.
um
Sounds
yeah.
good. But yeah, so we both like the game. We both recommend the game. So go and play it if you so desire. But we have been talking about the game for the good hour now, which is more than we kind of expected, because it is, again, fairly simple in terms of all that it sets out to do, but it does it in just such a great way. And it does layer, a number of different things on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, I think our conversation, at least about Slay the Spire, is ending. But we do have a few more forms before we head out for the evening or morning or whatever time it is that you're listening to this. Doesn't matter what time it is. But before we say adieu, we've got a couple forms. The first of which is our shout outs. We like to shout out some people in our community. And when we see something cool, we just want to let you know. And so I'm going to give my shout out to a new member of the Discord, Medium Tex, who joined
Yeah.
our Discord, a friend of Icostia, who was on our previous episode. So I just thought that was a cool little connection, since Icostia was on the episode and his friend joined in the Discord. So welcome, Medium Tex. I also just like that name because coming from Texas, I get it. Big Tex.
Oh,
I'm
we
also
get it.
not a
We
big
get it.
man. Very
Texas.
so yeah. Yeah. Hey, I can be proud of where I'm from, Nate.
No. No.
None of that.
No, you have to, if you don't hold like a low grade disdain for like the place that you're from.
Yeah, I don't experience
I
that.
don't trust it. I don't trust it.
Nice.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I was glad to see him. Kind of like a bit of a smaller shout out. It's not the actual shout out, but it's like to everybody sort of like jumping in there and sort of like sort of introducing themselves and all that stuff. So welcome, Medium Tex. It is, um, I guarantee nothing, but I will endeavor to not slander the okay state of Texas.
Okay. Okay state is Oklahoma.
No,
Texas is the
it's
TX
all
state.
the states except for Pennsylvania. You all live in okay states. No, I get it. It's Oklahoma.
It's okay.
You're okay. You're not okay. The kids are not okay. No, but yeah. Anyways, listen, I've besmirched. I've attacked several different states at this point in time. I've probably attacked Texas at different points. Um, I've slandered several of them. Mostly, like I think Texas is actually mostly pretty safe because you guys aren't near me, so I can't disparage. It's
Mhm.
like it's not like Jersey or Ohio that I can just be like, no, that place sucks and I hate it. Like, and then friends of the show are like, hey, I live here, and I'm like, sucks for you.
OH.
But yeah, no, welcome, Medium Text. I think my shout out is going to be. You know what my shout out is going to be? It's going to be
What's it gonna be?
for Kostya, and I know I was kind of
Okay.
singing his
Hey,
praises
there
at
you
the
go.
beginning, but like it was really cool to have him to hear him hop on and sort of like jam out, and I really was I was pretty impressed with how like he just sort of like just jived with everybody on that
Yeah.
episode. That was really
Yeah.
kind of cool.
It was a very smooth recording. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really pretty impressive. But also like the fact that like, he's out there, he's like, hey, uh, he says to his homie, Medium Text, he's like, come hang out with us. These dudes are kind of cool. And it's like, that's kind of cool, man. Good on
Pretty
you.
sweet. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. I like that. Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
that's I like that energy. So
Yeah. I agree.
the rest of you want me to shout you out? You need to get your friends to join the Discord and listen to our show.
Do it.
Do it.
Peer pressure.
Nah. I mean, like, no, but I just thought that was kind of that was kind of like a neat thing, and I just
Yeah.
it is. It's like you said, he was just on the Metal Gear Solid 3 episode, and I was like, yeah. So yeah, shout out to you, Akasha. Like, well done, young man. Maybe not so young. I don't know how old you are. You're probably not as old as me, but I'm an old fart. I'm like at least the second or third oldest person in the Discord.
Second or third oldest. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm an
I don't
old
know.
man.
Yeah, I guess I don't keep track of those things, but I guess you're right.
I'm an elder statesman of gaming,
There you go.
self-appointed. But anyways, like, listen, I'm starting to like, I really am starting to fade. You hear that, Fake Nate?
Oh
You
man.
jerk.
Fake Nate isn't here, but oh wait, who is that?
Here comes a new challenger.
That's right. There's a new challenger here. This is our final form, actually. Before we end the show, is talking about challenges, our personal challenge.
It's it's funny you say final form because that's a video game reference for me. Like every time I hear that, and I'm like, I kind of in my head I just had this like visual where it's like the listener or the viewer is sort of doing battle with us and sort of seeing if they can actually make through it. And like, so it's like if you've made it this far and you've come to confront the final form, like, well done. Victory is at hand, friend.
Yep, we're getting close.
But yeah, it's time to talk about our challenges. So I'm gonna make this easy. Is like I was supposed to start exercising more.
Okay.
I didn't. Because I suck. Well, dude, it's like I started working the overtime, and I think
right. Yeah, that's more steps. Yeah,
that's
some exercise.
Well, but it's just like it's also more time. Like I have to. Yeah. I start work a half hour earlier.
Right. Yeah.
I'm usually working pretty late, and then by the time it's like, but excuses are like buttholes. Everybody has them, and they all stink at some point. So it's like I need to just stop doing that. Ooh. Yeah, I said it. I gave a stinky excuse because excuses are stinky, and they're everybody's got them.
Yep.
Anyways, but yeah, so I do need to knuckle down and just get a bit of a, like I bought that Strongman book. I read through it, and I was like, I started developing like an actual curriculum or routine, and then I haven't finished it. Like yeah, good intentions and all that.
Sure.
So
yeah,
but yeah, so I'm a miserable failure, but we're gonna get back on the horse. We're gonna try again.
Sweet, nice, awesome,
How about
dude.
You?
Let's see. So my challenge from this last month was to catch up on my locked and loaded list. And actually, I am quite comfortable where I am with the list so far. I have 4 more months, right? Well, yeah, including September.
September, October, November, and December. We're just into September.
Yeah. So I've got 4 months to finish 3 games. One of which is a short game, Ninja Gaiden 2. And then I've got Dredge and BioShock Infinite. I think I can finish those games before the year's out, especially if I push them to the top of my list to play through. So I'm feeling pretty good. So at least with that challenge, I'm doing well. So as I look forward over the month of September, mentioned earlier, taking a look at some classical literature to introduce my son to. So for myself, I want to read at least 2 books over the next month. And when I say read, I mean I can listen to it as well. Listen to and read physically, but at least one of which I would like to be more of a classical book. So maybe I'll do like a modern book and a classic one, but at least just something to, again, familiarize myself with more of the Western canon, if that makes sense. So that is my challenge over the next month. Did well with this past month, but hopefully I can do well with the next month as well. But
cool.
I think that's just about it for me. But if you guys want to let us know if you're challenging yourself over the next month, over the next year, however you want to challenge yourself, we'd love to hear what challenges you have set for yourself. You can reach out to us and let us know how you're challenging, or maybe you want to talk about Slay the Spire, whatever. If you want to reach us, there's tons of ways you can do that. Go to our link tree. It's linktree.com/thebacklog breakdown. But it's getting late. Reach out to us. We'll have a good time. we've done the things that we've come to do. And you guys, till next time, keep eating down your backlogs, and we'll keep breaking down the benefits.